Hello and a very warm welcome to another edition of Talking Germany, the show where we do just that. And my guest today is a very big name, both here in Germany and internationally, in the world of classical music. And he is, in person, Ludwig Güttler. Thank you very, very much for coming to Talking Germany today.
Yes.
Great pleasure. Now, Ludwig Güttler has been described as one of the great virtuosos of our time. His instrument, the trumpet. Now, he's also a conductor and musical scholar, and I hasten to add, much else besides. I've mentioned that you are a virtuoso on one instrument, that's the trumpet, but in fact you have two main instruments.
Yes, I have the trumpet at first, and the corno da caccia, it's the Italian name. Mm-hmm. And this instrument have a great tradition since the generation before Johann Sebastian Bach. The center of this education is in middle of Saxony.
The place that you come from.
Yes. Yeah. Weißenfels, Leipzig, Weimar. Und die Tradition dieses Jägerhorns ist 1690.
This hunting horn was first used as an instrument to play art music back in 1690. Georg Friedrich Händel's teacher, Sachow, was the one who wrote the first cantatas for a hunting horn.
Hat die erste Kantate geschrieben, auch für ein Jagdhorn, für ein Corno.
And Johann Sebastian Bach wrote 40 cantatas and many instrumental pieces with this hunting horn.
Mit diesem Jagdhorn geschrieben.
Wonderful stuff. I can see how passionate you are about your instruments. I can see how passionate when you mention Händel and when you mention Bach about Baroque music. Just tell me, like that, what fascinates you so much about the Baroque period? What is it?
I think after this war over 30 years, 30-jährige Krieg. Nach dieser Zeit
After the 30 Years' War, people had a great sense of hope and strength. They wanted color, they wanted sound, they wanted to live, and they wanted some meaning. Which is why the architecture, painting and music, this Baroque music is so opulent.
Mit dieser überquellenden Fülle von Leben.
Wonderful. If you have ever wondered what the fascination of Baroque music and Baroque architecture is, you've just heard it. Ludwig Güttler there. Let's have another look, or a further look, at his life in music.
Ludwig Güttler's life's work has been fathoming the fascinating mysteries of music. A soloist and conductor, he performs in 3 ensembles, including Virtuosi Saxoniae. The 67-year-old is also a music professor. His speciality is the Baroque. His research has brought the works of many forgotten composers back to the stage. Güttler grew up in southeastern Germany, in a mining region known as the Erzgebirge, or Ore Mountains. He was born in Zosa in June 1943, the first of 4 children. He developed close attachment to his grandfather, who gave him his first musical instrument, a harmonica. He also tried his hand at the piano, the flute, the organ and the cello. Then he discovered the trumpet and went off to Leipzig to study music. Within a few years, Güttler was one of the best-known soloists in East Germany. He received many awards and became a professor at the Music College in Dresden. He enjoyed many privileges as a performer with an international following, but still had confrontations with the country's repressive authorities. In November 1989, he joined other Dresden artists in demonstrating for freedom and democracy. Later, he was accused of working for the Stasi, but no proof of that was ever found. Güttler became the spokesman in 1990 for a citizens' initiative collecting donations to rebuild Dresden's Church of Our Lady, the Frauenkirche. A one-time trademark of the city, the Frauenkirche was destroyed in a bombing raid in World War II. The East German government left it a ruin, something many Dresdeners perceived as an open wound. Reconstruction began in 1994, with architects using some of the original plans. But the effort could only succeed if private donations covered half of the project's costs. Ludwig Güttler used his own funds, collected donations all over the world and played more than 1,500 benefit concerts to raise money. In just a decade, about 100 million euros had been gathered. The sum exceeded all expectations. When the cupola was placed on the structure in 2004, it was an emotional moment for many Dresden residents. A father of five, Ludwig Güttler is seen by many as a central figure in the move towards a civil society where like-minded people work together. And today, he's our guest on Talking Germany, Ludwig Güttler.
So many things to talk about. Let's begin with your music. You're a trumpet virtuoso. We've established that. How much do you practice each day to maintain your standards?
Ich spiele täglich.
I play every day, between 3 and 4 sessions.
Einheiten.
When I have rehearsals and concerts, I play one session in the morning to warm up. Then in the evening I warm up again and then play the concert. And when I'm recording a CD, I do a short warm-up and then could be recording between 4 and 8 hours. When I'm on holiday, I keep to a strict brass diet, 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening. There's no holiday from playing.
Es gibt keinen Urlaub vom Instrument.
You never have... I mean, you're a very energetic person. I can tell this from the way you're presenting yourself. But you must have days where you get up in the morning and think, not today. Doesn't happen.
Every day. I play every day.
Every single day.
Yes.
Absolutely fascinating. You didn't grow up, really... A lot of musicians grow up in a real, traditionally, classically musical family, but that wasn't the case with you. You grew up in a family that had your grandfather, he was very important, he had a construction company?
No, yes, meine nähere Familie.
My family has always really loved music. A lot of my ancestors were either instrument makers or musicians. In the Bach Museum in Eisenach, for example, are 2 violins which were made for Johann Sebastian Bach's family by one of my ancestors, Johann Michael Güttler.
Für die Familie von Johann Sebastian Bach 2 Geigen gebaut hat.
That's interesting. Now, we're talking about Baroque music, and we're talking about you growing up in the former East Germany, the GDR. Yeah, Baroque music. It's very opulent. It's very aesthetic. You've described it yourself. East Germany was a very I mean, it's controversial perhaps to say this, but I think it's true. An unaesthetic state.
Yes.
Were you seeking comfort in the music?
Yes. Die Menschen haben in der DDR, in dieser Diktatur des Proletariats.
During the GDR era, during the dictatorship of the proletariat, a lot of people tried to find a cultural niche, also in the church. A lot of musical groups and choirs were formed around church music, which is strongly characterized by Baroque music by Johann Sebastian Bach and Handel, in the belief that they were in a protected space.
Eines geschützten Raumes.
And the state let you have this? Why did the state let you have this? Because the state was a state that controlled everything, and they let you have this space.
Yes. Der Staat hat versucht,
the state tried to fight the church and church music. The Constitution from 1967, I believe, tried to deny the role of the church as a cultural messenger.
Ihre Funktion als Kulturbringer abgestritten. Es durften dann auf den Plakaten
posters were no longer allowed to feature the names of state orchestras.
Es hieß dann immer,
so they would be called things like an orchestra of Dresden artists.
Dresdner Künstler oder, ja, aber es durfte nicht mehr,
they weren't allowed to be called the Philharmonic, or in the case of Halle, the Festival Orchestra.
Aber das
But
Bewusstsein,
perhaps back then there was a greater belief in the importance of being involved, because it was fulfilling in a way that ideology is not.
Stärker ausgeprägt als heute.
That's fascinating. I often ask people from the former East Germany, because it's a very important question, I think, what they miss about the former East Germany. What do you miss?
nothing.
That was an eloquent statement. Is there any doubt in your mind that it was the right thing to do to rebuild the Frauenkirche, the Church of Our Lady in Dresden, to rebuild history?
Ja und nein.
Yes and no.
Aber wir,
But one can't talk about reconstruction in terms of I, because there are always so many people involved. I always knew it would work. The question was whether it would take 5, 50, or 500 years.
Mm-hmm. Who was the church being built for? Was it being built for the church? Was it being built for the people of Dresden, for Germany, for tourists?
Wir haben sie aufgebaut, erstens.
We rebuilt it both for Dresden's identity.
Von Dresden selbst. Wir haben sie aufgebaut,
and in order to make peace with former enemies by working together.
Zu versöhnen im gemeinsamen Bauen. Eine einzigartige Chance.
It was a unique opportunity. And a break with the conventions of civilization which say, I destroy you, you destroy me.
Und so machen wir das wechselseitig. Es ist
the most important thing is a new spirit.
Das ist das Wichtigste. Wir haben sie aufgebaut,
We rebuilt it in order to show people that if a lot of people stick together and work together as citizens and say, I can do it, you can do it, we're in it together, then the impossible becomes possible. It was a great opportunity to sense, recognize, and make use of citizens' commitment and the strength it gave them.
Zu erfühlen, zu erkennen und wahrzunehmen.
Okay, let's talk about a different example then. Let's move from Dresden to Berlin, where we are now. We saw in that report that we just had the example of, in Berlin, a former East German building, the Palace of the Republic, interesting name, that was in the city centre and was really cherished by very many East Germans, was pulled down. And now the plan is to rebuild the former Hohenzollern Palace in the heart of the city. What's your opinion about that?
Ich denke, der Hohenzollernpalast allein
I don't think the Hohenzollern Palace alone is enough to justify the reconstruction.
Die Idee,
but the idea of connecting it with Humboldt, who has not been widely enough recognized in either European or world history, is a great idea.
Das halte ich für eine geniale Idee.
So the Humboldt University, a Humboldt Center.
Humboldt Forum. Ja. Und dafür ist auch dieser Platz.
The square in the middle of Berlin is the perfect location.
Und
and the name Humboldt adds another German message, namely a European intellectual message to which the whole world could relate. That's a constructive, modern message. And if it works, I'm all in favor.
Wenn das gelingt, bin ich dafür.
Give me a quick answer on this one. Do you believe that we live in an age now where we can build buildings that are as great and as grand as the buildings of history?
Es ist in jedem Fall unterschiedlich.
Every case is different.
Ich kann die Frage nicht monokausal mit Ja und Nein
I can't
beantworten.
answer the question with a simple yes or
Ich
no,
muss auch die Verhältnismäßigkeit
but have to consider it in relative
sehen.
terms.
Wenn ich in einer Stadt, die
In a
schön
city where there's a lot of
modern
modern
aufgebaut ist,
architecture,
und ich habe vielleicht
the
nur
careful
ein oder
reconstruction of
zwei
one or two smaller projects
kleine
could be very valuable.
Elemente, die ich wie ein Juwel aufbaue, kann es einen großen Wert haben.
But it's also possible to take reconstruction and historical building too far.
Dieses historische Bauen auch missbrauchen.
Okay. We're moving backwards and forwards between architecture and music. We're going to go back to music now. Ludwig Güttler grew up, as we have seen, with music, and it's widely agreed that doing so is an excellent way of training the minds of young children and possibly making them more balanced personalities. So why do so many German schools put so little priority on music teaching? What would you say is the impact of music teaching for children?
Ich denke,
If you're asking me that question as a musician, it could lead to the misunderstanding that I am speaking as a lobbyist for the profession of musician. And that would be too facile. What we need in Europe, and in Germany in particular, where there are too few children, is to support training rather than arrogance. We need greater awareness, improved intuition. We need better communication skills. And we need to listen to and operate on the same level as each other. And there's no better way to do it than through cultural, and more specifically, musical education. With a musical instrument, I set myself a short-term goal. Once I've achieved it, I'm motivated to take further risks. And then I see someone next to me trying to do the same thing at the same time. I play with him, and 1 + 1 becomes more than 2. This European tradition of cultural education creates opportunities for the future, and for people in different professions to acquire skills which are ultimately good for the gross national product as well.
You're describing a wonderful process, a wonderful way of learning. You're describing what you call a chance and opportunity, and you also mentioned the music tradition here in Germany and other German-speaking countries. When we talk about Bach, when we talk about Mozart, when we talk about Beethoven, and then you say what we need to do. Why isn't Germany, with this great music tradition, doing it?
I don't want to restrict it to classical music or to certain composers. I'd like to extend it to other musical styles, such as jazz or folk music, or to plain singing, and to everything that makes music making so communicative. The most important thing is being together, meeting people.
Wonderful. I've been sitting here listening to you talking so passionately about the Baroque music, about your instrument, about the impact of music teaching. Just tell me, for yourself, what is your favourite piece of music that has been composed for the trumpet?
The most important and most beautiful piece is always the one I'm playing.
You don't have a favourite composer?
Yeah? Yes, Johann Sebastian Bach. He's a gold mine. Immerse yourself in his music and every door leads to more rooms and you never reach the end.
That's wonderful. Why are there so few? Why is there so little trumpet music for classical trumpet since the Baroque period? Short answer.
Our style and aesthetic demands are constantly changing, which is fantastically stimulating. In Baroque music, for example, trumpets symbolize the divine, but also the military and power. And this in turn is symbolic of victory, because in any war that lasts for 30 years, everyone is already lost.
Oh. We've just missed... that's really fun. I've learned so much from you today. Wonderful. All these descriptions of the origins of Baroque music, Baroque culture, what it all stands for, putting that in relation to the former East Germany. Absolutely fantastic stuff from Ludwig Güttler. He's been our guest today. He's very passionate about music, about life in general, about architecture. If you've enjoyed his company as much as I have, then do come back next week. And until then, tschüss.